Welcome to Nahma. My name is Noor, and this is an inclusive yoga program. We've designed these classes so that seniors and differently abled yogis are able to participate, but they're great for anyone who's looking for a seated, very gentle yoga series. So in this particular session, you're going to have about 20 minutes to really get your body feeling really elongated, to get your joints happy, and just basically to bring a little bit of heat and movement and joy into the body. This particular session does include a spinal twist. So if that's not something that you feel comfortable with doing today, we do offer modifications. So please keep a lookout for that. Otherwise, the only other things you need are a chair, preferably without arms, and just curiosity and a willingness to practice. So we're so excited to have you. Thank you so much. I will see you on your chairs. To begin, let's just make sure that we have good alignment in our bodies. We want to make sure that our joints are stacked in a comfortable way and that we have the full support of the ground so that we can really move freely through this practice. So can you glance down for a moment and just make sure, firstly, that all four corners of your foot are comfortably reaching the ground. If you're vertically challenged, like I am, if I sit too far back, my legs start to dangle when the chair is high. So I always scoot myself up a little bit towards the front of the chair. You might want to do that, just so that your entire foot is resting comfortably on the ground. If this doesn't work for you, if your feet are still not quite reaching the ground comfortably, pause the video, just grab a cushion or two, slide them underneath your feet, and that'll bring the ground up to you. And once that's done, can you make sure that your ankles are stacking directly below your knees? If that's not happening, your knees can be a bit compromised, and we don't want that for sure. So take a moment to make that adjustment. Your feet are about hip width apart. Your knees and your toes are tracking forward, so facing me. And just make sure, maybe by swaying gently from side to side, that your weight is evenly distributed across your seat, across your bum. All right. Now, from here, can you make sure that your spine is able to grow long from the support of the chair? Can you make sure that your shoulders are moving back slightly in space and away from your ears? And that your head is just comfortably resting. You're not tipping too far down towards your chest, and you're not looking, your chin isn't too high up towards the sky. Okay, great. So from here, we're going to just start to bring a little bit of a stretch through our body. You're going to start to interlace your hands in front of you. And when you do that, just make a note of which index finger is on top of the other. For me, it's the right. The right index finger is on top. From here, you're going to rotate the palms to face outwards. And then on an inhale, you're going to reach your hands up towards the sky. So you're getting a really nice stretch through the side of the body. Now from here, on an inhale, can you start to tip your nose up slightly so that you're looking up at your hands? And on the exhale, start to move in the opposite direction so your chin is tucking into your chest. Let's move again. On the inhale, start to look up, tipping your chin up, but make sure you're not crunching the back of your neck. So the back of your neck, think of it as growing long. As you look up towards your hands, and then exhaling, moving your chin in the opposite direction, feeling a long stretch through the back of the body. Great, and then gently release your hands, bring them in front of you. You're going to switch the cross. So now I'm going to bring my left index finger on top of the right. You can do whichever the opposite motion is for you. I'm going to swoop my palms out again and raise them up and just go through that same motion, but we're going to switch the breath. So on an inhale, start to tuck your chin, feeling a stretch through the back of the body. On the exhale, tip your nose up, start to look up towards your hands. Let's do that one more time. Inhale down. Exhale up. Just really reach through your hands for this one last stretch. And then release your hands down. Wonderful. Now we're going to bring a little bit of motion into our shoulders. So can you bring your fingertips and place them just on top of your shoulders? Your elbows come out to about shoulder height, and then you're just going to start to trace little circles with your elbows. You can make them teeny tiny to start with, and then start to make them bigger. Start to really explore this ball and socket joint. Your shoulders are designed to move in 360 degrees motions, but we often don't use them to their full capabilities every day. So take this opportunity to really explore this joint. So move them in funky circles as wide as you can, in varied sizes, and then start to move them in the opposite direction. Just really feeling your heart opening, moving as slowly as you need to, making this movement your own, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And then maybe meeting our elbows in front of our chest just to say hi, and then releasing down. Great. From here, we're going to just build that mobility in our arms. So we're going to extend our hands out in either direction. So our fingertips are really pointing out pretty strongly to either side. And now we're going to alternately open our palms to the ceiling and then close our palms, pointing them towards the ground. So both hands are moving in opposite directions. One of my old yoga instructors used to refer to this motion as rolling a shower knob. If that works for you, please imagine that you're doing that. I see this more as sort of a Bollywood move. I don't know, maybe I'm far off, but it's got this kind of, it's got a little naughty kind of thing to it, which is quite fun. But it's also great for bringing a little bit of tone into your biceps, bringing length through your arms, and also bringing a bit of a groove into your body. Yeah. Okay, anyway, let's release that, shake our arms out, shake our shoulders out, and then release them down. From here, we're going to move into a really nice stretch for the upper body. So I am going to turn to the side to give you a side view. You can stay exactly where you are. So we're going to sit in that good position, making sure that our ankles are underneath our knees and sitting up tall. Then we're going to make a diamond shape with our pointer fingers and our thumb. So something like that. And then we are simply going to start to reach forward with our hands. So we're going to start to make almost a C shape with our body. And we're going to look through that diamond. The reason we're keeping our chin upright and looking through our hands is so that our chins and our heads don't start to drop forward towards the floor. So we're keeping a tone in the neck. And we're really stretching through that upper thoracic spine. Our shoulder blades are moving away from one another as we breathe. And just really reach through our hands, stretching out the entire back body, but really, certainly the back, the upper back. Staying here for one more breath. And then slowly just easing out of it, coming back up to straight. Great, and to counter that, you're going to grab the seat behind you, holding it firmly, and then you're simply going to start to move your shoulders back in space so that your chest is now really opening up, you can imagine, to the ceiling. So really lean into your hands and move your shoulders back and just feel a stretch across the heart. Your inhale should really feel good over here. You should have a pronounced stretch. And as you exhale, just back away a little bit from it. Inhale once more. And your chin is almost parallel to your thighs. So you're not jamming your neck by looking totally up to the ceiling. It's just a gentle elongation in the back of the neck. You can think of it that way. The work here is really in the chest. And then slowly ease out of it. Maybe bringing your hands onto your thighs. So from here, we're going to come into a little spinal elongation, and we're also going to come into a twist. So if you're having any lower back or mid back issues today, I'm going to give you modification. So let's start off by bringing our hands to our heart center together. And your hands aren't sort of passively resting against one another, they're active. Your fingertips are pushing into one another, the heels of your hands are pushing into each other, and your biceps are actually activated over here. So you're going to sit tall. On the inhale, push your hands into each other and start to lift them over your head towards the sky. Your biceps come on either side of your ears. And then on the exhale, keep pushing your hands into one another and slowly feel that resistance as your hands come back to your chest. Now, if you don't want to go into a twist, you're simply going to inhale at the center and you're going to start to move your elbow and your palms over to the right. So your hands are going to try and come as far as they can towards your right shoulder. But the trunk of your body stays facing me. Then on the inhale, come back to center. Exhale, move your hands in the opposite direction. So you should feel a really nice stretch across your forearm and your shoulder muscle over here. And then just keep with that sequence, just inhaling center and exhaling, moving to either side, doing this little dance. Now, if a twist is available for you today, you can take this option. You're going to bring your hands to your heart center, inhaling tall. Exhale, start to twist from the belly button towards the right. Inhale back to center. Exhale it over to the other side. So choose which movement you want to do, and we're going to do it 3 more times. So I'm going to twist today. So inhaling tall. Don't strain any part of your back. If it's complaining, take the ego out of it and just move into those lovely forearm stretches. That's a really lovely pose as well. One more time. Exhaling to the right. Inhaling center, keeping your palms activated. Exhale, twisting from the belly button this one last time. Maybe looking over your shoulder. And coming back to center. Now keeping that activation, you're going to inhale your hands above your head once again. And now I want you to hold your breath as you press your palms into one another and bring them down, 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 down. Keep pressing, hold that breath and then wait for it. Just release it. Just exhale it out, let it go. I love that move. Great, and just releasing your shoulders just in case any tension built up. It should have if you're really, really keeping your palms pressed into one another. And now we're going to bring some activation into our legs and go for a really nice inner thigh stretch. So you're going to start to keep that connection with the ground. Just heel toe your legs open. You're going to, everyone's body is different, so you're going to heel toe basically to the point where you start to feel your inner thighs activating a little bit. So, and you might need to just shift a little bit to get your seat just right. And yeah, for me, I think this is it. And you can sort of tell, because if you put your weight into your thighs and you tip forward, you should start to feel a little bit of a stretch as you hinge forward. Now, making sure, I know I sound like a broken record, but making sure that we have good alignment, just check the old rules still apply over here. So you need your ankles underneath your knees, and just as importantly, you need your knees tracking in the same direction as your toes. So I think my alignment is pretty good over here. You have a glance down, just see if it's good for you. Now, you're going to bring your weight onto your quads, onto your thighs, but your hands are more towards your inner thighs, so just above your inner knee. And then you're going to straighten your arms and start to bring weight into your hands. So your hands are going to be working ever so slightly to push your legs away from one another. And you should start to feel a stretch in your inner thighs. If this isn't working for you, you might need to widen your legs, or if it's too intense for you, you might need to ease up and not push so hard, or narrow your legs a bit. So just find that place, and you can start to tip forward slightly, but make sure that your back is straight. So the crown of your head is extending towards the front of the room. Your back is straight. Your shoulders are moving back in space. Your shoulder blades are moving together on your back. And your hands are just gently working your knees, your thighs apart as you stay here and breathe. You can close your eyes, really focus on that stretch. You can really press into the outer edges of your feet to really activate that stretch. Now, you can stay here. You can also start to take a little twist in your upper back if that's available for you today. So just start to drop one shoulder and look over the opposite shoulder. Staying here for an inhalation and then moving back to center. Still feeling that stretch in the thighs. Drop the opposite shoulder. Drop the opposite shoulder. And look behind you. See how that feels. And unwind, coming back to center. Staying here for one more breath, going really long through the back. The crown of the head is pointing right up. And then exhale, coming back to center. Great. You're going to heel toe your feet together. And now we're going to move into warrior pose. I really love this pose. It is an activation for your hips. So, okay, in order to do this, you're going to shift your weight over to one edge of the chair. I'm moving over to the right side. And now you're going to start to wriggle your right leg out to face the side wall. So you might need to just adjust your seat a little bit to make sure that both your glutes are comfortably on the chair and the weight is evenly distributed between your hips. You're going to hang onto your chair as you start to move your left leg or your back leg out and behind you. So again, I know I'm a parrot. There needs to be good alignment with the ankle and the knee. But what I really want you to focus on in this pose is actually the back leg. Warrior 2 is an external rotator stretch. So you're actually activating a stretch in your hip by moving this muscle outward. So in order to activate that stretch, you're going to start to press into the outer blade of that back foot. And you might need to adjust your foot a little bit just to make sure that, it's in a safe place where you really feel that activation in your hip. And then you can sit tall, you can hang onto your chair in front of you, behind you, or if you feel steady over here, you can add those warrior arms. And just stay here and breathe. Imagine there's a little string that's really pulling your back up, your spine straight up to the sky. Your arms are really extending behind you, in front of you. Your tummy's toned. And always remember, keep the pressure on that outer edge of your back foot for that nice hip opening. Taking an inhale and growing tall here. Releasing it. And then slowly, we're going to bring our hands back to the chair if they weren't there already. And you're going to start to wriggle your feet over to the center and moving it into the other side. So this time, the left leg goes over in that 90-degree angle position, and the right leg sort of scooches long and wide behind you. So your feet are planted firmly, checking for that ankle-knee situation. And now, I'm going to make sure that I can comfortably press into the outer edge of that back foot and feel the opening in my hip. And you can really accentuate that by imagining that you're moving this front leg back in space. So you're moving your hips like that. And that really sort of makes that stretch a little bit more dramatic. And then you're going to sit up tall. Again, imagine your spine is extending straight up to the ceiling, adding those warrior arms. Breathing here, growing tall, pushing into the outer edge of the back foot. Feeling a lovely stretch, hopefully, in the right hip. And then releasing it, just dropping your hands and wriggling your toes, wriggling your feet, coming back to center. For our final pose, we're going to come into a gentle forward bend. So in order to do this, we're going to just move our feet a little more than hip width apart. So it's not as dramatic as before. It's just maybe about as wide as the chair legs. And just make sure that all four corners of your feet are firmly on the ground. And I sound like a broken record. You have good alignment. And your toes are tracking in the same direction as your knees, because we will be here for a few breaths. So your hands can just come to rest on your thighs above your knees. And from here, you're going to inhale, growing your spine long. And on the exhale, from the hips, you're going to just start to tip forward. So you're leading with your chest over here. You're not dropping forward just yet. The weight is really in your hands, but also in your feet. But your sitting bones are really anchored into the seat of your chair as well. So you have a really strong base from which to grow your spine long. And your shoulder blades are going to start to move back towards one another. Your shoulders are moving away from your ears as well. And you can just stay here and breathe. Forward folds tend to be really relaxing, so it's a nice way to just sort of tune out from everything around you and focus inward. Now, if you don't have any blood pressure issues, I invite you to start to dip your chest a little bit further and start to bring your belly in between your legs. And maybe, just maybe, if it's safe for you, you can start to drop the crown of your head towards the ground. Maybe your arms will come down to the ground to give you that extra sort of tripod of support, but that's not necessary. You can stay bringing your weight into your thighs. Wherever you are today, just start to become really conscious of your breath. Start to enjoy going inward. Staying here for one more breath. And then slowly start to unravel by arching your spine and really using the strength of your arms to slowly tip you back upright. Don't go too fast, because if you went into that forward fold, you might get a head rush. Which is ironic, considering it's a relaxing pose. So anyway, you can heel toe your feet back into that classic pose, the sitting pose that we are in at the start of the class. And then from here, just start to sit up tall. Maybe let your eyes flutter closed. Staying here and breathing. Allowing your shoulders to move down your back. Allowing the weight of your sitting bones to really sink into the chair. Feel how long your spine is. Feel how relaxed your shoulders are. Feel how supported your feet are by the earth. And then without opening your eyes, can you join your hands at your heart center? Just taking a moment here to thank yourself for practicing today, for arriving on your chair, for willing your body to move in ways that are good for you. Now gently allow your eyes to open. Thank you so much for joining me today. And please let me know how this class was for you. If you have any suggestions or comments or requests, feel free to leave them below. And I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to know what you need and if there's anything that I can do to serve you. So thank you. Until next time.